Hi, welcome to Reddit Audio Stories official channel. We hope you will have fun with us. I appreciate your visit to my channel dedicated to love stories. I encourage you to subscribe and give it a thumbs up as it serves as great motivation for me to create new content. Enjoy watching. Don't forget to be at the banquet tonight. Lion, my wife, shouted as she ran out the door. It means a lot to my career, he said. Don't worry, I'll be there. I promised. I finished my porridge, put the dishes in the sink and left the cell phone on the table. Then I went back upstairs and changed into comfortable golf clothes. I put my clubs and shoes in the car and headed out. I had arranged to meet a couple of friends in a course in Kutztown, about 100 miles away. We left at 11 o'clock and it was a beautiful fall day. There are some things in life you can't buy. We finished the game at 3 p.m. and went to the clubhouse for lunch. It had been years since I had seen Ethan and Arthur, two of my college buddies, and we had a good time catching up. We ate and decided to play a few more holes as we were having a great time. We finished as it was starting to get dark. That was amazing, smiled Ethan as we finished playing. Do you have to leave right now or can you have another drink with us? Lion asked Lucas. Have I ever turned down a drink, especially from such a helpful loser? I laughed. Let's go to the watering hole. Heathen said with a laugh. We drank a couple of beers and told each other old war stories from our glory days. I caught myself thinking that I was having a good time and that I should see Lucas and Arthur more often. As we get closer to the house, I felt my mood slowly deteriorate. Alva would be furious when I walked in the door. I would have to deal with her anger and consider the best way to extinguish it. I chuckled to myself as I realized I was thinking the impossible. She would be furious. Where the hell were you? Those were our words of greeting. As I entered the hall, I told you this damn banquet was very important to me and to remember to be there. At 6, she yelled at me, I'm sorry, sweetheart. The boss sent me to Doylestown, terrible traffic. I just got back. I spoke to Tom. He was home by 6:20 and 35. He said you took time off and didn't go to work. Scarlett yelled, you're a bad liar and a pathetic bastard. Well, now that we've cleared that up, I give up, honey. I smiled. I'm exhausted. Settled? What's settled at this point? We've determined that you're lying to me. What if we tell the truth? Scarlett demanded. I was robbed along with my car by pirates. They took me to an old warehouse for ransom, but aliens dragged me to their ship and stopped their probes in my teeth, eyes, and genitals. I replied when they left the room. I was lucky enough to unite the knots in the rope they had tied me with. Then I had to figure out how to steer their boat. Accidentally flew to Scranton. On the way back, I had to hitch a ride with a truck driver to get my car, but don't worry. I feel pretty good, just a little tired. Scarlett looked at me like I was crazy. She was so pissed off she couldn't even put words together into a meaningful sentence for a few seconds. Lynam, what are you talking about? Cut the crap and tell me why you missed the banquet. You know, it was important to me. I got a nice promotion. You were supposed to be there with me. It was really embarrassing that you weren't there. Scarlett W. through gritted teeth. I was playing golf with Lucas and Arthur, a couple of old college buddies. I admitted it. They beat me at first, but I beat them by 9 yards on the 7th hole. I've been kicking nurses ever since. I swear I've hit some shots 300 yards. Golf, Scarlett repeated incredulously. You knew this dinner was very important to me and you played golf. You planted days in advance. Didn't you so? Why did you tell me you were going to be at my event if you weren't going to be there? I didn't want to hurt you, so I lied a little. I replied I was hoping you wouldn't find out. I suggested you wouldn't find out. You didn't want to hurt me. Already crazy law. Asked Scarlett. How could I not notice that damn empty chair? You idiot, how could you not want to offend me by not attending such an important event for me? In retrospect, I realize you had the guess, I admitted, but at the time it seemed exciting and somehow different. It just happened. I never meant to hurt you. It's just golf, nothing personal. Are you drunk or something? Did you and your old friend smoke a joint, Ly? Scarlett asked. You sound like you're crazy. I'm too tired to discuss your selfish and obnoxious behavior. Tonight, you can sleep in one of the old nursery rooms. I don't want you touching me or talking to me for a while. No problem, sweetheart. I'll be quiet as a mouse, I promised. Scarlett looked at me like I was a bug she had never seen before. I smiled and headed for Jane's room. Scarlett and I had been married for 24 years. Both of our kids were in college and we were adjusting to the empty nest. I crawled into Jane's bed and fell sound asleep, repeating my best rhythms as I slept. The next morning I was dressed for work, reading the paper and eating cereal when Scarlett walked into the kitchen. Don't think I'm done with you, Ly, she warned me. I don't know how or if you'll be able to make it up to me for yesterday. I think you have to think about it yourself. I'll be working late tonight, so start your peanuts by making yourself dinner. No problem, honey. I can take care of myself. I replied. Have a good time. I'm going to work. What do you mean? Have fun? ABA demanded an answer. Have a good day, be happy, don't worry about me, don't take wooden nickels, whatever. I replied it was just a fixed expression. He looked at me like I had two heads, turned around and went to work. I picked up the phone and dialed my work number. I told them I wasn't feeling well and wouldn't be in today. I spent the morning shopping. I finally saw something I wanted at BSTUU and ordered the biggest flat-screen TV on the planet. It was delivered to me the same day. Everything was assembled and working perfectly in time for the evening news. It was working so well that I was trying to watch the anchorwoman Célie Scarlett. I felt like she was in the room with me. The TV took up an entire wall of the living room. It even made the closet door inaccessible, but it was worth it. I called some colleagues from work and invited them over to watch the first game of the World Series. Then we ordered pizza and ribs at another place downstairs. When Iva walked into the room, we were watching the third pitch. To say she was shocked would be an understatement. She was speechless. Jacob, our countenance, saw her, jumped up, grabbed her hand and shook it. Congratulations on the promotion. That's one hell of a TV. Old Lion is a lucky guy to have a wife like you. Bereaved. Thank you very much. Scarlett hesitated. I'm really tired, so I'm going to leave you guys to watch the game and go to bed. What was that? She took it very well. I wondered how angry she would be in the morning. I was dressed for work and reading the morning paper. When Iva came into the kitchen, "You're going to get that damn monster out of here and into the store before I get home from work tonight, can you hear me? Miami?" Iva yelled. I hear you, honey. No need to raise your voice. I smiled. I'm not deaf. The door slammed so hard I thought the glass in the windows would shatter. Sometimes it was hard to understand her. I was watching a show when Iva came into the living room tonight. I thought I told you to return that thing today. She began. You said, you heard me and I didn't need to raise my voice. Now I come home and the thing is still here. He shouted. What part didn't you understand, you idiot? I've never understood why Noah is on the show. I replied, it's not very funny. Foam and spit came out of Scarlett's mouth as she tried to formulate a coherent sentence. Her face turned crimson. Lynam. Listen to me. I wanted you to return the TV, but you didn't. I didn't buy it to return it. Honey. I didn't buy it to return it. Honey. I smiled. I like it, I'm going to keep it. I understood the words you said this morning. The problem you're facing now is that I didn't follow your orders. It's not that I didn't understand your words. It never occurred to Scarlett that I would refuse to follow a direct order. This was new territory and it caught her completely off guard. What's gotten into you lately? Lion, you miss an important event, making up bullshit excuses and then order a new and I'm sure very expensive TV without discussing it with me. Are you all right? She asked a little anxiously. I'm fine, honey. Thanks for asking. I replied. I knew if I had asked you about the TV you would have taught me. It wasn't a good idea to save myself the anguish and not start an argument. I simply asked. It's much easier and it doesn't hurt anyone. I added. No one, Lime, it hurts like hell. Scarlett growled. This is really bothering me. This thing is too big for the room. I can't even vacuum it. You spend a lot of money on something that doesn't fit in our house and you didn't consult me. How could you think it wouldn't hurt anyone? I ask, when you say that I know what you mean. I can't do something just because it will make me happy and not think about how it will affect you can. I replied, you're absolutely right. Lynam, you've never done anything like this before. He said. Why do you need to be taught all over again? Scarlett asked, you're acting like a selfish child. I guess you're right. I'll return the TV on Monday. Okay. I replied, I'd rather you do it tomorrow. Lie, tomorrow afternoon I have to go to work for a few hours. I replied. Working on Saturdays is frustrating, but that's why I got promoted. Iva reasoned. Please get it out of here when I get back tomorrow night. I nodded and looked around at Shelley Lamb again. I had always had fantasies starring her Saturday afternoon. I called Avi's parents and invited them to have lunch with me. When we arrived at the cafeteria, I introduced them all to Isabella Jones, who was waiting for me there. Isabella looked tired and exhausted and I wondered if she would be able to function normally. Ivavi's parents paid no attention to anything but the free lunch I treated them to. At 3 o'clock, we followed Isabella home and parked behind her in the driveway. Isabella offered us a seat in her tastefully decorated living room. We sat there with Scarlett's parents. Isabella then reached over to the security system remote and pressed a few buttons. The noise was deafening. Siren toweled, and a loud voice warned all intruders to leave the building immediately. Suddenly, the door burst open and Thomas Emba's husband came running into the room with the bat. He was completely naked and in a state of semi-excitement. Without acknowledging that he didn't know either Iva's parents or me, he swung the bat at us. Menacingly. Isabella stayed out of his sight. "Get the hell out of here before I smash your faces in," she shouted. She pulled the bat away for a second for a scream. "Mom, Dad. Elijah. What are you doing here?" ABA said. Scarlett's parents looked away from the naked baseball player and saw ABA standing in the doorway, pressing a sheet against her obviously naked body. "I invited them to have fun. Mrs. Will Elijah," Isabella replied. As she entered the room. Thomas was never good at hiding his affairs. I knew he had brought a whore home when I told him he had to go to Philadelphia for the weekend. I even guessed it would be you, Mrs. Will Elijah. After seeing how attentive he was to you last night at the banquet. I stood up and nodded hello to Scarlett's parents. I walked over to Isabella and shook her hand. Then I looked away from Iva's new boss. Thomas to Iva herself. "No Dame is playing tonight and I don't want to miss it on my big screen. When you're done, you'll take your parents home. Won't you, Scarlett?" I asked. "I'm sure they won't mind. I'll take something out of the house during the commercial, but it won't be the TV." The game ended and I carried all of Ada's clothes down the hall to the living room. Then she meekly walked in the door, looked at all her belongings and was amazed. "Elijah, please don't do this. It was just a fling. Nothing more. I never meant for you to get hurt." She told me sadly, "You weren't supposed to know anything. You were supposed to trust me. We've spent too many years together to throw it all away like this. How could I not know about that? Dan, empty chair, you idiot." I asked, pointing to the chair. "This marriage was very important to me and you went and cheated on me. I want you, not him. Elijah. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. It doesn't really matter anymore. You got mad when I played golf during a very important event for you. Sleeping with your boss is a little worse than wasting time on holes. Isn't it? Scarlett, I'm hurting? Believe me. Elijah. My dad's been calling me everything. They think I'm a cheap who and I can't go back to work with Thomas. Can't we just put my affair behind me?" Scarlett pleaded. "Your sex with another man is something I can put behind me, Scarlett," I replied calmly. I saw her eyes sparkle at my words, but then tears came to her eyes as she finished the thought. "I can't let go of the lies, the disrespect, and the inability to trust you. My lawyer will contact you on Monday. The TV stays and you don't." Dear friends, thank you very much for watching. Leave comments. Put likes, share with friends and subscribe to the channel. We hope you will have fun with us.